Welcome to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and Championship Night for Season 3 of the Sim Racer's Edge. Tony Trapasso up in the booth, joined with me by my partner, the man, the myth, the living legend himself, and Mr. Jonathan Leach. And John, I missed last week, but apparently there were a lot of fireworks, and Chad Simpson apparently clinched the championship while I was gone.
Yeah, that is what we are hearing from league. We can call them league directors. We should say that Simpson did indeed clinch the championship. However, that doesn't mean there's not anything to fight for today because, I mean, this is Indianapolis. This is where everybody wants to win. The finale, here we go, Indy Oval. It's going to be 120 laps. And apparently it looks like he may not be here. No, I do see him here. We were told initially this morning that he may not be here today, Tony, but Chad Simpson is here today.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he qualified, I believe, second quick. Let me just pull up those standings. No, Butch Davis went quick time. The Red Cat Pole Award going to the STP 43 of Butch Davis. Cam Bergelli, Mike Grandy, Jeff Roulette, Dan Brazington, Timmy Bates, Ronnie Osmer, Ernie Ludwig, Yari Broadpatcher, and Carl Burke rounding out your top 10. Third place in points, Chris Samard all the way back in 13th. And Chad Simpson did not post a qualifying time, so he's going to grid up in a 20th position.
Yeah, perhaps maybe he's just a start in park due to the hockey tournament that were mentioned right here. I do want to point out that Butch Davis won the inaugural 500 in Season 1, and Simpson won last year's Indy 500. This is going to be the first time it's not 500 miles. It's only 300 miles tonight, Tony. It's going to be a little shorter, a little easier on us. However, one other notable, FBR Motorsports has also locked up the team championship with a 100-point cushion into tonight. So this race is just for grabs. Who's it going to be? That's all it is. Who's going to win here at the end? That's what we're getting ready to find out.
It's all for bragging rights and that big mo going into Season 4, the momentum shift. But, yeah, I mean, there's still a lot up for grabs right now as, there's still a pretty tight battle, in the point standings between Davis and Samard. Samard has to finish in front of Davis, and Davis has to have a 15th or worse place finish for Samard to get second in points for the third consecutive season.
Wow, that would be pretty incredible.
Third time the bridesmaid. But that just goes to show you the strength of field that they get here, in Sim Racer's Edge. Just incredible. And I did talk to a couple of league admins. It's not a bad setup when you're by yourself, but the aero push is insane. So you're going to see a lot of dive bomb passes try to happen here tonight. You'll see some guys practicing with green flag pit stops to make sure that they can get to that cone properly. Now, the Indy course cone and the NASCAR cone, they're in different places on that pit wall. The NASCAR cone is as soon as the pit wall starts. The Indy cone is about another 100 yards further down the road. So, definitely something these guys are going to have to be mindful of. But, again, something to really keep in mind, you're allowed one defensive move. So we're not going to see the insane Indy snake where you see 3 or 4 lane changes going down the front or back straightaway. This is definitely something that, you can go once to try to break the draft and then go back up to get to the corner, but you're not going to see back and forth numerous times down the long straights.
Right on. Well, it's going to be Indy. It's going to be Sim Racer's Edge. We had an awesome race at Pocono. I expect to see a lot of similarities to Pocono, except obviously this being 4 corners as opposed to 3 corners. I think it's going to happen really fast. I bet we're not going to see a lot of wrecks, but there's not going to be any, let's say, lift in the action. I think we're going to have battles at all points of the night, at all points during the race, and at all corners, maybe even at the same time. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. As you would expect from these guys, some of the best side-by-side racing we've ever seen has come from this league. As a matter of fact, there's been 3 accounts since we've been broadcasting this league, 2 in season 1 and 1 in season 2, where it was a dead heat at the finish. And we had to go to iRacing Live Timing and Scoring to go out to the 5th digit on the transponders. Normally, they give us 3 in sim, 2 in the Live Timing and Scoring apps that we use, but we had to actually wait until the official race results got posted to find out who actually was the winner. And it was by one was by 1/100,000th of a second, another one was by 2/100,000th of a second, and the other one was by 1/10,000th of a second. So, you know, you're talking 4 and 5 decimal points that we had to go out to figure out who won that beast. And I would expect nothing short of that here tonight at Indy, as it looks like the cars are starting to grid up, John.
They sure are, Tony, and leading the way, as we'll throw the grid up real quick, is going to be Butch Davis and, how do I pronounce this, Karim Brugelli?
Karim Brugelli. Is going to be starting outside row number 1. Mike Grandy and Jeff Roulette make up row number 2. Dan Brazington and Timmy Bates rolling off in row 3. Row 4, we see Ronnie Osborne, Ernie Ludwig, Yari Broadpatcher, and Carl Burke rounding out your top 10 for row 5. Row 6 gives us Jackson Bell and Jeff Bogan. John?
Scrolling through a little bit further here on the grid. Right after Jeffrey Bogan, you got Chris Simard and Mark McFadden, 13th and 14th. Starting 15th tonight is going to be Jose Viguera. It's been a week. I forgot. I'm sorry. It's been a week, Tony. William Fletcher next to him. Then you have Chris Walker, Michael Bourne, Johnny Antonucci. Thank you, Tony.
The Jersey
As you can tell,
Ninja.
Tony might as well be from another country, as I can't get these generic American names right. Shane Loveridge.
Hey, you don't speak Italian?
Nope, I sure don't. Starting 19th
Fair
will
enough.
be Shane Loveridge, and rounding out the field with 20 is going to be Kevin O'Brien. In for a good one, Tony. I really cannot wait.
Well, then we have Kevin O'Brien, Shane Loveridge. Chad Simpson's supposed to be gridding up in 20th. It doesn't look like Simpson, Hollingsworth, or Grandy are going to be taking the green from the track. Butch Davis is going to lead him around here, and 120 miles doesn't sound like a lot considering that we've done 200 here before, but you got to remember, folks, this is Indy. There's a lot of weird things that happen here. Expect to see some carnage coming out of turn 2, where they got a 2-mile-an-hour crosswind that they're going through, and again, the same thing through turn 4, where they've got that 2-mile-an-hour crosswind. And keep in mind, we've been told already, aero push is very, very real. 100% fuel filled tonight, no tire limit. There is a penalty after 8 incident points, and then every 4 after that, you get a penalty point. But 77-degree ambient air temperature, 124-degree track temperature. The track is hot and greasy, so that is going to lead to some very interesting racing. As the field works its way out of turn number 4, the official rally racing pace car peels on off. The only thing that's left to do is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, and pull the steering wheel nice and tight, because race fans, it's showtime! And we're already 3 wide going into 1. They get that sorted out real quick. Teammates Butch Davis and Karen Brugelli showing the way right now. Dan Brazington and Ronnie Osmer running in the battling for 3rd, as Osmer looking to get ahead of steam going down the back chute. No drafting help right now for Osmer, so he is going to get freight trained right now, as Roulette working the outside of him as they go through 3 and 4.
Well, Tony, I think they're already showing us about what we're going to see all night long. Multiple cars. There's going to be side-by-side racing here. Something that you don't see in the Cup cars and the truck cars, as opposed to the Indy cars. These cars can do that here. The Cup cars, you get into a little bit of a run and it starts getting a bit harder. But as we talk about every single week, the ridiculous amount of downforce that these massive go-karts create just lets them do things that a normal car can't.
And you just hit the nail on the head. And go-kart driver, championship dirt go-kart driver, Karen Bergelli right now showing the way as he wrestled the lead away from his teammate Butch Davis. Dan Brazington having a great run so far, currently slotted into the number 3rd spot, and 3 of them are starting to gap Ronnie Osmer as he was in a tight battle with Jeffrey Roulette just a couple of laps ago. Right now back in 7th place, looks like Timmy Bates is giving Yari Darpatcher all he can handle right now as those two guys stem to stern. Not real side-by-side going on right now, as we do have one going on with Ernie Ludwig and Jeffrey Bogan back in 10th. Ludwig looking on Bogan right now, but having trouble getting that nose into the clean air. The aero push is showing its ugly head already.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse as the runs go on, but I'm still going to hold to the fact that these guys can run side-by-side here throughout a full run based on the additional downforce. But you know, that little bit of drag, though, that's going to make the difference passing and not passing and keeping your momentum up going through these corners. I mean, one bobble out of the turn, that's going to hurt you.
Absolutely. You can see the draft coming to effect as Butch Davis just powers by Karen Bergelli going into 1. And that's how you're going to have to make the passes here tonight. You're going to have to get the draft going down the long chute, make the move going into either 1 or 3, and hope that they can't cross you over going through 4. As looks like Osmer working on Brazington for 3rd right now.
Yeah, I think we're going to see these two drivers around each other a lot. In fact, that seems to be the norm, Tony. These two guys tend to find each other on track all the time, pretty much without fail. I want to go back to when you mentioned crossing each other over. We saw a lot of that at Pocono. And I don't see that coming into play just yet, but until they show me otherwise, let's say 20, 30 laps into a run, I'm not going to say that that's not going to happen just based on how this track is. Because you can get the better momentum, and you can pass somebody, let's say, into turn number 1, but coming out of turn number 4, the guy that was passed, now he's going to have the momentum line, and he can turn and just cross back under you. And then when you cross and pass your opponent, you give up that little bit of momentum. As you got a car entering pit road, that's Ernie Ludwig.
Absolutely. One of the 2 Canadians in the field tonight, taking it pit side early. Not sure what happened to Ludwig. It looks like Mike Grandy Sr. has already gone pit side. Oh, he pit started. I apologize. But currently up into 18th spot. So already starting to make some headway for the number 12 after pit starting this piece. Hollingsworth and Simpson both saying no mas and not playing with the other children tonight. As you know, the battle's still hot and heavy, and you know, this track is so aero dependent, and it always has been. You know, guys didn't realize what it was in the early years. I would say like pre 1950 something. They didn't realize just how effective aerodynamics were. And when they started to really streamline the Indy Roadsters, and they made those, you know, specialized cars for this track, as we got another pass for the lead going on between Davis and Bergelli, you know, when they started to realize that if we streamline, you know, these cars more, we can increase you know, the effectiveness of them down the straightaways. And it was, you know, in the late 50s that they started to realize that the draft, they didn't realize what it was at the time, but drafting is effective. And then when Lotus brought out that rear engine car, that was a game changer. You were so aero dependent at that point, but that was also before they let them put wings on the cars. You know, and once they started to let them put wings on the cars in the 70s, you saw the speeds jump instantly. There was a 10 to 15 mile an hour difference year to year as they got more comfortable with how the wings worked. So, you know, this is one of those tracks that you really have to know how to work the draft.
You know, folks, I'm convinced that Tony does nothing but research motorsports from before we were all born. Because he knows everything. And you do. You always surprise me with a new fact every single time we're in the booth or in the show together. And you know what? I think I'm going to put you on the spot. I saw 15 people watching just a minute ago. I think you should come up with a trivia question related to IndyCar and see if anyone can figure it out. Now make it fair, common knowledge-ish, but I'm going to give you a few laps to think of something because it's always fun to do. I want some responses this time, folks that are watching this race. It's going to be a long race, and it's only going to help make things a little more interesting.
All right, I'm going to make it easy. Who was the first driver to set a qualifying speed of over 200 miles an hour?
Oh, wow. I don't even know that. Well, fans, family, drivers, if you can text and drive, let us know if you know. I'm kind of curious. I want to find out the answer to that. That's a good one, Tony. And that's probably not a ridiculous question. As we got to move right here, Dan Brasington trying to move up to P2. He's going to be able to take the position away with ease right there and slide up and take that spot. That's another spot up for Brasington. He's up 3 positions since the start.
Absolutely. And we are under caution for the first time. Looks like Ronnie Osmer. Ouch.
I'm going to try to pull that up here.
That crosswind coming out of 2 catches another one. Luckily, he didn't hit anything.
No, he just smoked some tires. Wow,
yeah,
got away with one.
Completely flat spotted those pieces.
Yeah, he got away with one right there. And in the comments, we're hearing that Simpson is definitely in a hockey tournament. He is not here for the night.
And congratulations to Chris Jordan. You are correct. Tom Sneva, the first one to break the 200-mile-an-hour barrier for qualifying at Indy.
Wow, that is awesome. I did not even know that. Thank you for participating. We're going to come up with a few more of these. Maybe one day in the future I can come up with some prizes to give out. I just don't have any at the moment. So I apologize. Kudos to you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we're going to have to do something to make that a little more special as things go on, Tony. Could be a trivia night. Maybe we should start a podcast with you in it, Tony. You know all things motorsports. You'd be great.
Well, I know a lot of stuff. There's quite a few things that I don't know or I'm not familiar with, but Google is my friend. So. Well, let's move on to our next trivia question while we are under caution here. What Indianapolis 500 winner refused to drink the milk? You know, it's normal that you drink fresh Indiana milk when you get into victory lane. They hand you the 1 liter bottle and you pour it all over yourself and you smell like rotten milk for the next year. But who is the only Indianapolis 500 winner to not drink the milk?
Wow, I didn't know that was even a thing. I feel like you have to, unless he's like no offense, I'm not trying to offend anybody, anybody in shape or form, but maybe a vegan would refuse?
No, he was not a vegan.
Okay.
He had his reason singular, but it just...
Nationality? Religious?
No.
Ethnic group?
No.
I mean...
No. Who was it? And I'll explain why after the answer is found.
Man, it make me want to look this one up. This one's interesting. But that's alright. I'm going to be surprised just as soon as a fan lets us know.
Again, Chris Jordan on point. It was Emerson Fittipaldi, and the reason being he owned a 500,000-acre orange grove. And they produced orange juice, so instead of drinking the milk, he had his team bring him orange juice for victory lane.
How about that?
And that pissed off the entire dairy council.
That's so funny. That's really funny, actually.
So a couple drivers electing to stay out under this one. Yari Brumhatcher and Timmy Bates both deciding not to pit. Davis winning the battle off pit road. Dan Brazington coming out right behind him, going to slot into the number 4 spot. Jeffrey Roulette running out your top 5. Great run for Jeff tonight. He's had one of those quiet seasons where, he hasn't. He's been towards the front all season long, hasn't quite had that breakthrough yet, but he has led a handful of laps this season. And every time we come to the Brickyard, Jeff is on point. But a couple of retirements to speak of. Looks like Chris Walker and Ernie Ludwig have both put it on the hauler.
All right, and we didn't really see any damage from those guys, but maybe they had other things they had to do, and of course you always want to show up at least in some form, fashion, or the other for the last event of the year. And I tell you what, Tony, next caution, if we get one, since this is the finale, let's try to spend our time picking drivers up, bringing them into the booth, getting their thoughts on the season and things like that.
Absolutely.
I think we owe that to these guys. I'm a fan of these guys. I really look forward to negotiations and bringing them back for next season. They're a highlight of our ESPN and Sim Racing Media Company, and we enjoy having them. And it always
my fingers are crossed. My fingers are crossed that we're going to bring them back.
Oh, me too. Me too. And trivia night. Trivia Wednesday with Tony.
It's 2 for Tuesday every Thursday night here.
We're gonna have to make this. We're gonna have to make this a real thing, Tony. It's gonna be Trivia Tony. Join in the booth with Trivia Tony.
What are we gonna do this Saturday nights?
That would be. Oh wow, that's a great idea.
That's not a bad idea. Let's do it Saturday nights, and we can also do bottom split bingo while we're doing it.
Oh geez, but all right, there goes the pace car, Tony.
Green flag back in the air. Broadpatcher pulls the trigger. Timmy Bates jumps immediately to his left to try to break the draft on Butch Davis. Field pretty much strung out well here. A couple of notes to make, and we're back under caution.
They're in to see what
Jackson
happened.
Bell.
Trying to see here. This happened real quick.
He caught the rumble strip coming out of 1 and just blasted the wall. And I think that's game over for the 25.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I wouldn't even think that rumble strip would really pull you around like that, but I guess it just hit it just the right way. That's unfortunate right there. He's on pit road now. Maybe he'll be able to get back out there at some form, shape, or the other.
Well, here's the thing to remember, John. This track, it doesn't have a lot of banking to it, but it does have just a little bit. Ever so slight banking in the corners, and you get down onto that apron, and you're flirting with disaster because it's flat and it's dirty down there. So you can put a front tire in there. It might help the car turn a little bit. You put a rear tire down there, good night. You're 220 miles an hour into a wall.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much about what almost happened. I would say it wasn't quite up to speed, so it wasn't that fast, but it could have been.
So who do we want to talk to?
Well, if they give us enough cautions, we'll go through the field.
Well,
What's someone we don't talk to? Someone we don't talk to very much.
Someone we don't talk to very much. How about Dan Brazington from Voodoo Racing?
Okay, we talk about him a lot. We just don't hear from him enough.
Absolutely. As we are going to reach out right now to the driver of the number 29, currently sitting in 4th position. Dan Brazington, Tony, and John up in the booth. Do you have us, sir?
Yes, sir.
You have a great run going so far, very impressive run. I know the father-in-law is watching, and he's happy that you're up into the top 5 right now. How is the race progressing for you so far?
Just trying to keep the wheels under it. We still got a long ways to go. Just making the right moves, staying out of everybody's way, and keeping it there at the end for everybody to see.
Well, again, Dan, just a great run going so far. Great way to close out the season. Best of luck to you. Just real quick, how real is the aero push tonight?
On a scale of 1 to 10, it's about a 15.
All right, fair enough. Well, Dan, we're going to let you get back and concentrate as it looks like the lights are getting ready to go out on the pace car. Best of luck to you, sir, and hopefully we're talking to you in about 100 laps.
All right, y'all take it easy.
So that was the driver of the number 29, Mr. Dan Brazington. And, John, you heard it there. On a scale of 1 to 10, the aero push is a 15.
What? Why do we got to go outside of the scale? Like, we give you a scale. 15 could be, if we made it a scale of 1 to 100, 15 could be 100, or it could be 15. Use the scale.
It's bad. It's bad. From what I could gather, talking to the guys during the pre-race, I was down in the paddock talking to a few of the guys, and they said it's like driving a racing car a four-wheel drive racing car on slicks on ice.
Oh yeah, I definitely, for sure, absolutely believe that, without a doubt. And I mean, you can always leave it to car people. We're always a little bit excessive. I probably would have said 15 too if I thought it was bad. But it's always fun to poke fun at a bear that I always do too. So, but no, I'm sure. I bet it is slick out there in these machines when you're really moving. But that's why we get the good racing. That's why they can go side by side into the corners if it sticks, and that's why this is so fun in IndyCar machines here at this racetrack. So I'm feeling a long green flag run. I'm hoping we have some decent runs, but I still want to hear from more drivers. I want to get thoughts going into next year, how they figured their season went, things that they liked, what they're looking forward to, things like that. It's fun, and this is a open platform night. That's what we'll call it. Open platform night. We're talking to everybody.
I like it. And we're going to talk to as many drivers as we possibly can to get their thoughts on Season 3. And again, we've got to thank everybody that helps put together the Sim Racers Edge series. The sponsors behind this piece, the admins that put in countless hours of work to dial in these setups to make them as raceable as they are. So we get that side-by-side action. So it's not just a cookie cutter, follow the leader kind of deal and hope somebody makes a mistake. You really have to be up on the wheel and drive this piece. So, again, Yari Broadpatcher still in the lead. Timmy Bates, Butch Davis, Dan Brazington, Jeffrey Roulette, still your top 5, as we didn't even get a lap under green as the pace car makes that left turn onto pit road. Broadpatcher has the button, pulls the trigger, and we are back underway at Indy.
Wow, we got a bunch of drivers, several drivers going down pit road. Kevin O'Brien and Vigera. Wow, already damage for these two guys. Kevin O'Brien has a right front issue right on the start. I wonder what happened there.
I'm guessing the two of those guys got together.
Must have been. I'm going to try to go back to the green flag and just real quick and try to see. They sure did. Wow. Just a big stack up right there on the green flag. One more time, we got to get back to the action. It's just big stack up, tons of damage, multiple cars go down pit road. More damage trying to get down pit road.
We got a slugfest right now for the lead of this piece. That's Timmy Bates on the high side, Yari Broadpatcher on the inside. Give the lap to Bates. Just no quarter asked for, no quarter given between those two, side by side for the last lap and a half.
Well, this is what we expected to see, is a lot of this back and forth. This started now I'm starting to see some Pocono vibes. There are 3 drivers up front. Now, this is different than what we had at Pocono. Only Butch Davis was up there. But this is exactly what happened. They just kept trading back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And if they're not careful, the man we just spoke to, the Aero Push 15 man, Dan Brazington, he's going to get up there pretty quick. And, Tony, I've got a question for you. Why do you think, and perhaps it's a product of that stack up in the back, these guys seem to be really easy on the starts right now. No one's right up on each other. It's almost like they all started lazy. Would you say that's just because of the time that we're at currently on the track?
Yes.
Or we're only 21 laps in? Or is it just, okay, so that's not something that we should expect to see out of these guys the whole race then?
No, if there's another restart towards the end of this piece, I'd say inside 10 to 15 to go, it's going to get real chippy. Now, here's the point of contention. I heard from the higher-ups that a tank of Go Fast here is only good for between 23 and 28 laps. Timmy Bates and Yari Broadpatcher have not been down pit road yet, so they're getting into the window. Expect them within the next 5 or so laps that they're going to have to bring those cars down, green flag conditions or not.
All right, well, we're going to keep an eye on that and just kind of see what happens here. That should be that'll be shortly. In fact, that I find it hard to believe they don't come down pit road that close to the end of the fuel run, but we're going to see if it works out for him here. Butch Davis now about not quite a half second over Yari Brewpatcher, but trying to stretch that lead out while Brewpatcher and Tim Bates are battling for second, and I swear they just made contact, Tony. It was so close.
Another coat of paint on, or another coat of powder coat on those wheels, and they would have been in trouble. Another retirement to speak of. Jackson Bell has put it on the hauler. So 3 retirements and 2 did not starts here tonight. As Jose Viguera still trying to get the number 48 fixed after he and O'Brien had an issue on the last restart. But right now, Butch Davis in command of this one by about 6 car lengths over Yari Broadpatcher. And this is one of the best runs we've seen the German have in a long time. Yari, on some of the ovals, Yari struggles. But he shows up at Indy, and he's one of the contenders every time we come here.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, that this is a whole different ball game. I mean, there's road racing, there's oval racing, but this one is kind of, it's almost like they do it backwards from NASCAR. This is like their big race, and it's at the end of the year. And, that's how I like it. I prefer it like that. Now, just granted, this isn't going to be like a Wreckfest style race like a Daytona Talladega race and Cup Series would be, which is why this works, in my opinion. But this is really cool. I like going to their most anticipated track, most long waited for event. This makes it a lot of fun. And
well, think about it this way. For years, the IndyCar series, at least in the late 70s and early 80s, this was the kickoff to the season. They didn't start their season till Indy. So teams spent all winter just preparing a car for Indy, and they had another team working on, other cars, as Broadpatcher and Davis getting a slugfest right now up at the front of this piece.
Yeah, now I'm seeing the Pocono vibes, like I mentioned, just kind of back and forth. One gets a run, one crosses them back over. I think we're going to see a lot of that as this race goes on, especially considering that Brewpatcher and Bates, they did not pit. Butch Davis did pit, and Tim Bates just put a really fast lap down at a 41.59, and up the first half of the track put the fastest lap down for the first half of the track at a 20.47, which is faster than everybody else by about 2.5 tenths.
Timmy just reset quick time of the event at a 41 flat.
He sure did.
Absolutely.
And that is on not fresh equipment.
No, that's a tank that's almost bingo on tires that are 27 laps old. And, he's been running in the draft, so yes, it was draft aided, but the fact still remains, he doesn't have many more laps in that tank. So right now, both he and Yari Broadpatcher are begging for a caution. And Broadpatcher just called his pit. So expect to see the 89 peel off coming off a 4 to go pit side as he dives it to the inside on Butch Davis. Again, I'm expecting him to peel off here because he did call it coming off a 2. And it looks like Davis giving him plenty of room, not really running him hard. And, yep, Broadpatcher peeling off. And just barely gets it down to 60 at the commitment cone. Wow. That was a good charge into the cone. So that moves Timmy Bates up into second. Dan Brazington up into third now. It's Karen Brigelli about 12 car lengths back from Brazington in the 98, currently sitting in fourth. Jeff Roulette rounding out your top 5. Jeff Bogan having a good run, currently sitting in 6th. Carl Burke in 7th. Chris Samard in 8th. Will Fletcher and Mike Grandy Sr., who pit started, is back up into the top 10 as Bates peels off. And that's going to move Mark McFadden into the top 10. So a great run for McFadden, too. This is one of the tracks that he definitely has a handle for and a good feel for. But Butch Davis showing why he was one of the cars to beat in Season 1 here, as he and Brazington are just picking him up and laying him down right now.
Yeah, I would say those two, as well as Tim Bates, they're going to be, and the number 98, Brugelli, those look like our drivers to beat. If I had to make a wild guess, I would want to...
Brazington for the lead.
Sure did. We caught it right here on air as he got around Butch Davis. I want to lean towards Butch Davis, considering he's won the event. He was on the pole. He stayed in the top 3 this whole race. But all 4 of those guys, I think, have an opportunity. And then it's really the whole field, but those are the 4 drivers that I'm looking at based on the first, let's call it the first fourth of the race. First quarter of the race.
They've had the strongest first quarter by far. And the fact that Bates is having the run that he's having, this is great to see. Sat out most of last season to be race control for the league. Came back this season, wanted to drive, was given the opportunity, and he is making the most of it right now as he's got that Voodoo Racing number 29 just wound up and showing the way right now. Great run for the driver of the number 29. I know that's making the father-in-law happy.
Oh, yeah, everybody just having a lot of fun. And I really got to thank all of our viewers. We've had a good chunk of viewers tonight. Perhaps because this is the finale. We may not see these guys for a while. Real grateful to have you all on here. And the fan participation, that makes this oh so much better, especially for the fact Tony and I are going to be here for a long time. And we're having fun, but I mean, we're still not behind the wheels of these things. So it's always cool to be able to talk to you guys like you're kind of here in the stands with us about the race. So here's my question for you guys. When do you think, let's do this. When do you think the last caution's going to be? 20 laps to go, 15 laps to go, 10 laps to go? Just y'all's thoughts. No wrong answer. Just curious. I'm going to say there's going to be a caution with 6 to go. That's what I think. 6 to go, Tony, and I think it's going to set the race, and the top 4 are going to duke it out. That's what I think.
And since John just jinxed the field, you can get your hate mail coming now. That's John Leach, care of ESBN Towers, Charlotte, North Carolina, P.O. Box OU812.
You know what's so funny about that? Is you've never said a different P.O. Box number.
Because we own that P.O. Box everywhere. Like a friend of mine I went to high school with, her name's Jennifer. She requested the telephone number 867-5309. So when she gives it out to guys at bars, they don't know if she's screwing with them or if she's serious.
Wow, what a thing.
So
that's a pretty funny
let's move on to our next Indy trivia question. Well, we've got a nice green flag run going here. Who is the oldest driver to have won an Indy 500? Bonus point if you can tell how many years and how many days he was when he won the race. Oldest driver to win the 500.
I want to lean towards Weldon, but I'm almost certain that's not the case. Because he was only, in his 40s, 45 when he passed away?
He was a young pup still. He still probably had a good 12 to 15 seasons left in him.
At 44, 45? He was in his 40s. Yeah. I know that there's no way you can get in one of these cars in your mid... I mean, I guess if you're an Iron Man, but I got to imagine these cars are rough on your body with the G-forces they take into the corners.
They are, but let's face it, Dan Weldon was one of, if not the best driver to ever circulate this track. I think we can all agree on that, pretty much without question. And, I mean, his results didn't necessarily show it, but year in and year out, he was always one of the ones you knew you had to beat to get your face on the Borgwarner trophy.
Yeah, I'll never forget the 500 where he was running P2. I can't remember who it was. It was a rookie.
Slammed the wall.
Corner.
Yep.
The last corner. I felt really bad for the rookie, but that was kind of when I became a Weldon fan. Not a big Indy car follower or anything, but just that moment and then how classy he was about it. That said a lot. And then, ever since then, I was a big fan. And, I mean, he only was around for, I think, a couple more years after that, unfortunately. But, man, what a fun race. And that was to watch. And I'm sure this one's going to be fun coming down to the end, too. So
absolutely. We've got a 3-car breakaway at the front of this thing with Bergelli, Brazenton, and Davis.
I don't... I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. I don't want to say quite a 3 because Roulette's right there, too. He's not even a second back. I mean, he's right there. So. Right.
But, next trivia question we're going to, who is the oldest driver to ever win the Borgwarner trophy, and how old were they when they did it? Years and days are the bonus points.
Maybe we need to make stickers. We can send out stickers.
There you go.
Or keychains.
Now you're thinking with your dipstick, Jimmy.
Well, I guess so are Brazenton, Grandy Sr., and McFadden, all 3 drivers coming down pit road. They're probably thinking with fuel and tires more than a dipstick, but somebody on that pit box should be. Johnny Antonucci coming down as well.
Absolutely. Is Bergelli and Davis still at the front of this thing. Jeff Roulette up into 3rd. Jeff Bogan up 8. Chris Simard up 8. And we haven't talked about it much, but I believe Simard is running a new paint scheme tonight.
Well, let's go ahead and take a quick look and see right here. Oh, he's coming down pit road as well.
Absolutely. As log jam at the cone. Everybody jamming on the binders. That's going to hand the lead of the race over to the 66 of Jeff Roulette. Ronnie Osmer back up in the 2nd after having that spin coming off a 2 about 20 laps ago. So green flag pit stops are a real thing right now. And it's just impressive that, we get the long green flag runs that these guys get. Especially at a place like Indy where, we've seen Indy turn into a wreck fest. As Roulette peels off, handing the lead of the race over to Osmer. Davis winning that battle off pit road with Broadpatcher, Bergelli, and Bogan and Simard. And Field's starting to get a little bit strung out right now, as you would expect with green flag pit stops. But again, still waiting on that answer for the next tribute. Oh, man. What happened to, I believe it was Burke.
Yeah, I'm showing trouble with Carl Burke right here. Oh man, I'm just starting to jump pits a little bit here. I'm going to try to back it up and see exactly what happened. Looks like he tried to come out of pit road here. Let's see, cuts into his pit stall. It's kind
Up
of
on the jack she
sideways.
goes. Up on the jack she goes. Fuel going in. Car down. John Force style burnout. Oh.
Just, it hooked. Hooked too good.
Well, if you notice where his tires were, he had 2 tires on the concrete and 2 tires on the asphalt, and it just walked him right around. So that's a tough break for the driver of the 53, as Osmer has peeled off to go pit side while we were away. And the hands the lead of the race back over to Butch Davis, who's got Yari Broadpatcher all over his rear wing. But still waiting on a winner on the next trivia question. And Babs, no, it was not Michael Andretti. Michael Andretti has actually never won an Indy 500. And if we don't get an answer by the next set of green flag pit stops, I will give you folks a hint.
I don't want to cheat and look it up.
You're going to love the answer. Matter of fact, I can actually give one of the hints right now. He has been one of the rookie trainers to take people that have never been around Indy and train them in how to run this track properly.
Wow, I'm just not sure.
You're going to kick yourself when you hear who it is. looks like we got a battle for ninth really starting to heat up right now, as that's Grandy and Brazington going just hammering tongs at it right now. Brazington able to get the arc into 3 and get the better run through the short chute. So Brazington still holding on to 9th, as Grandy drops back to 10th. But that battle up front is still hot and heavy between Broadpatcher, Davis, and Bergelli. And you know Yari would love nothing better than to do exactly what Butch Davis did in season 1, and that's get his first win in Sim Racer's Edge here at the Brickyard. And before you folks question it, yes, Butch Davis did shoot a video of himself chugging milk after the race was over.
Huh?
Why
do I feel like I've seen that picture?
He posted that video.
I think I've actually seen that prior to getting involved with ESPN or broadcasting. I think I saw that circulate the iRacing pages.
Yes, and Babs just hit the nail right on the head, and she got both bonus points. Al Unser Sr. was 47 years and 360 days old when he won his 4th Indianapolis 500. So good
Oh,
on
excuse
you
me,
for
sir.
that one. Good, definitely good on you for that one, Babs.
Did somebody use Google? I guess you can. I
Well,
guess Google's
didn't say,
okay.
I didn't say you couldn't.
You're right. I just didn't want to do it.
But yeah, Al Unser Sr., 4-time Indianapolis winner. One of only 3 drivers to win 4 times at the Brickyard. If you can name the other 2, that is our next trivia question. Bonus points for what years? And it looks like the action kind of starting to calm down just a little bit. And just as I say that, Yuri Broadpatcher gets a great run down the back straightaway and closes right back in on Butch Davis. These guys are getting ready to put 50 laps in the books already. Broadpatcher's working on his timing right now, you can tell. Because he's giving Davis the backstretch, but he's trying to get that run out of 4. As drag race down the back straightaway between Davis and Broadpatcher, that's going to punch a huge hole in the air for Karen Bergelli as Broadpatcher throws it to the inside. Davis swings it wide to get the arc. Still side by side for the lead. And Broadpatcher peeling off to go pit side.
Oh, wow. Really hard on the brakes to slow down. We're going to have to keep an eye on that.
Absolutely. I'm keeping one eye on that right now as these guys have been out on track for about 12 laps so far. So Broadpatcher coming pit side like he did. I think this was an unscheduled stop. Not sure what was going on there, but as Karen Bergelli throws it to the inside on Davis through 3, these guys, teammates right now, both driving for FBR, and you call these cars go-karts with wings, and that's exactly what Bergelli drives in the real world, a winged, caged sprint kart. And you want to see some wild action. I've seen some of the videos of those guys, and no thanks. You got to be half crazy to try to drive one of those things as fast and as wild as those races look like they are. And everything happens so quickly. So still waiting for an answer on our next trivia question. We've already given you one of the drivers that has won 4 Indy 500s. Who are the other 2? Bonus points if you can name the years for both those drivers. And Carl Burke has decided to put it on the hauler. So that leaves us with 16 cars still circulating this piece. 13 of them still being shown on the lead lap. Yari Broadpatcher being the last one scored as such. Timmy Bates, the first car, 1 lap down. But Bergelli, Davis, Simard, Bogan, Osmer, your top 5. Roulette, Grandy, Brazington, Fletcher, McFadden rounding out your top 10. Bourne, Antonucci, and Broadpatcher, the last cars on the lead lap. Action still hammer and tongs here at the front of this piece as Bergelli is leading Davis. As Chris Simard has moved up into the number 3 spot. Just a little bit behind him. And again, a little bit different look for Simard this week. Can't say I don't like the paint scheme.
No, it's a neat looking scheme. It's definitely different.
Yeah. Our good friend Sam Cooper Bennett did that one and should be proud of how that Caterpillar car came out. Real sharp looking piece. As these guys just continue to click laps away. Just an amazing pace these guys are currently setting right now. As looks like Grandy and Brazington are going back at it for the number 9 spot. As Grandy gets the draft down the front chute, pulls alongside and wrestles the lead away going into 1. Brazington still having an amazing run. Took a season away from the cockpit, and to come back and run top 10 here at Indy. He was trying a different pit strategy early on, didn't quite work for him the way he was hoping for, but still on the lead lap, still in the top 10, and still in contention.
We're closing in on lap, or halfway, I should say, not lap, Tony. Really, aside from those couple guys, things are starting to spread out. The fields, the top 9 or top 8 are within 5 seconds of each other, and then things really start to drop off much more quickly. But dare I say the top 5 are really all kind of within shooting distance of each other. Not really that's a good analogy. Actually, it's a terrible analogy. But
I would say top 6, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're within striking distance, I should say. So kind of anything can happen with those top 6. And I guess by that I mean at green flag pit stops, that top 6 could definitely shuffle around by a second, maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a second more or less in the pit stops could change that whole deal right here. So we'll keep an eye on that. So we got to be getting close, Tony. They're last on lap 40 to 41. Shouldn't be too much further now for the halfway pit stop, I imagine.
Well, sometime within the next, I'd say 5 to 10 laps, you're going to see guys starting to peel off, depending on how much fuel they've saved. And with as hard as some of these guys are racing each other, I don't think anybody's saving right now as far as fuel goes. But as we get to lap 60, what do you say, John? We step away and hear a word from our good friends over at Red Cat Racing.
Yeah, we'll absolutely do that. We'll be right back, folks. Enjoy the show.
And there was a word from our good friends over at Red Cat. And with the holiday season on us, nothing says I love you to the gearhead in your life like a hobby-grade RC vehicle from Red Cat Racing. They've got vehicles to just suit just about every need that you're going to see out there. So give them a look. Link in the video description on how to find their products. As we got green flag pit stops coming in hot and heavy right now. As Davis and Simard peeling off, handing the lead of the race over to Ronnie Osmer. Jeffrey Roulette still has to come down pit road. We already saw Bergelli and Bogan peel off. Looks like Broadpatcher still has to come down for his next stop. Well, he was down 16 laps ago, so getting a little bit off cycle for the German there. But definitely going to be an interesting battle here as race off pit road. Looks like Simard going to edge out Davis by ever so slightly. As Ronnie Osmer and Jeffrey Roulette both continue to stay out. And Dan Brazington just reset the fastest lap of the race with a 40.93. That is moving, ladies and gentlemen. You're talking a lap at around 221 miles an hour for that. But still waiting for an answer to our what will probably be our final trivia question of the night. 3 drivers have won the Indy 500 4 times. We've already given you one of the names, and that is Al Unser Sr. Who are the other 2? Bonus points for what years they did it in. So, Osmer peeling off to go down pit side. That's going to hand the effective race lead over to Karen Bergelli in the 98 as he has his rearview mirrors filled with Yari Broadpatcher. And those 2 guys about a second and a half to the good over Jeff Bogan as Bergelli drops down to cover the inside, making Broadpatcher go around him on the high side if he wants it, as they flash by Ronnie Osmer, who's just now coming out of the pits. This is not the money stop. We are going to need to see at least one more pit stop out of these guys before all is said and done, as we are just past the halfway point. And again, Bergelli protecting that inside, going down the back straightaway, not giving it to Broadpatcher easy, as those 2 guys just picking up, laying them down. But the fact that they're battling as hard as they are, that's letting Jeff Bogan in the 21 start to reel them in. And then you've got a little bit of a gap all the way back to Chris Simard, who again was able to get out in front of Butch Davis. Ronnie Osmer was able to do the same, but Davis right now up to speed on tires with heat in them. And Osmer is not, as his tires are just now coming up to temp. Have a battle going on. Looks like that's for 8th between Dan Brazington and Mike Grandy Sr. as Brazington throws it to the inside going into 3. And just like that, Brazington up into 8th. So great drive for the driver of the number 29. As Grandy looks to the inside, coming down the front chute, wrestle that point back from him. And a little bit of a moment for Brazington coming out of 1, was flirting with disaster on the high side there. Gets it back in shape and gets back into the draft of Grandy. Still just hammering tongs those guys back and forth. As looks like Jeff Bogan has caught Yari Broadpatcher and now is putting pressure. Chris Simard has caught Jeffrey Bogan and is now putting pressure on the 21 to wrestle that last podium spot away from him, as Simard does it the hard way on the high side. Good grief. Chris Simard on rails right now as he has a head of steam and he's reeling in Yari Broadpatcher, trying to stay in the slipstream, as Karen Bergelli has been doing a little bit of Indy snakeage down the back straightaway. And what he's doing is completely legal. He's got that one defensive move to cover the inside and then arc back out to make the corner. But Broadpatcher's in trouble. He's got a very hungry Chris Simard. Simard knows what's at stake here, as Butch Davis has already dropped back to 6th. So traffic not being nice to the 43 right now, but not that far out of contention, as you can pretty much throw a blanket over your top 6.
Yeah, I'm not going to count Butch Davis out in the 6th position right there. I mean, plenty of time left, probably just not making unnecessary risk. Now, however, I say that, and we have to realize that the top 5 in front of him are also very, very fast tonight. I think Butch Davis is a little faster than all of them. I'll say all of them. But being a little faster sometimes isn't enough. But I think he's just kind of playing it safe, trying not to use up his stuff. So let's keep an eye on him for about the next, let's say, 15 laps, see if he doesn't start to progress a little bit.
Absolutely, but that battle for 4th starting to heat up now between Bogan and Osmer, as Osmer going to try to do the same thing Simard did to Bogan, and that was go around the high side. But just as I say that, here comes Davis to look into the inside of Osmer, wisely backs out of it, knowing that it was about to be 3 wide, and that's never a good thing. And again, this is your battle for 4th. Jeff Bogan and the Tequila Patrol number 21, as Ronnie Osmer to his inside right now. The Hour Motorsports VSM driver, trying to make some headway. Now, we saw him have trouble earlier, but I got to say, great drive for Chris Simard. He's already up 10 spots from where he started, currently sitting in the final step of the podium. He would love nothing more than to come out of here with the victory. As Bergelli, Broadpatcher, Simard, Bogan, Osmer, and Davis continuing to pick him up and laying him down right now. As I dare say Davis has gone into fuel conservation mode, just trying to see if maybe he can make it on just one more stop, which should be doable. It's a big ask, but should be doable. But with the pace that the rest of these guys are setting, I don't know how well it's going to work for him if he were to try it. So, again, trivia question. 3 drivers have won the Indy 500 4 times. We've already given you the name of one of the drivers, that's Al Unser Sr. Who are the other 2? Bonus points for what years they did it in. As Broadpatcher peels off to go pit side, the 89 is very much off cycle from everybody else right now, I'm noticing. And I don't know if that's by design or if he's just having issues. But that's going to move Will Fletcher into the top 10, although he's about 17 seconds off the pace of the leaders right now, kind of running all by his lonesome. Almost he's a 10-second gap to 9th place Tim Bates, as Mike Grandy Sr. and Dan Brazington going at it. And just as I say that, we've got a battle for the lead as Simard picks it up. Bogan shoots the gap up the middle, down the backstretch. Wow, what a move out of the 21. Simard was working the inside of Bergelli, and Bogan just shot the gap.
And I want to mention now, with Jeffrey Bogan taking the point, as Simard's not going to let him have it easily, both these drivers up 11 spots. However, now as they run with Simard out front, up 12 for Simard and up 10 for Jeffrey Bogan. So both drivers worked their way through the field kind of slowly, and they're showing the way here now. And also want to mention that Butch Davis has moved up to 5th, and seems like he is closing in on the number 98 as well.
Absolutely, is Jeff Roulette up there as well. not that far off of Davis.
Someone comes down pit road.
That looked like Brighelli. Bates had just gone down pit road, but yeah, Brighelli, the first one to blink of your top 6. And it seems like he's a little off cycle with that too. Not sure exactly what the strategy is on that, but peeling off, must be thinking, degradation of the tires is something he's definitely want to get a hold of. I didn't see him hit the wall at all, so, well, maybe he did, because he spent an extended time on pit road. So he could have brushed the wall somewhere that we missed, and unfortunately 19 seconds in the box for Brighelli. That's pretty much going to devastate his night as he goes a lap down to your leaders. As Simard and Bogan continue to just slugfest it at the front of this thing. And I got to think that Bogan's got a better timing on this than Simard does. Because Bogan gets the lead coming off of 3. Simard gets it usually going into 1. But, yeah, you can see it right there. Simard's at the wrong end of the track to really make anything happen right now.
Yeah, it's just going back and forth here now, Tony. I think we're going to see this all the way up until the pit stops, but for these two guys, it's got to be coming pretty soon, and I guess the real question is who's going to go first? Who's going to have the better pit stop, and is one of them going to make a mistake that's going to allow Osmer or Butch Davis to take over the point position? And these two battlings really brought Osmer into the picture here, as this is now, I'm going to go ahead and call it about a 3-way battle for the lead once again.
Absolutely is. And you are correct, our good friend, Mr. Sam Cooper Bennett. It was Helio, AJ, and Rick. Bonus points, again, still up for grabs here if you can name the 12 years between those 3 drivers.
See, now that's something I don't even know. But then again, I don't follow IndyCar series. This is what I'm saying, guys. Tony just has a wealth of knowledge, and he's just wanting to give it to everybody. Another special shout out. Go ahead. Sorry.
I've been obsessed with race cars since I was like 3.
See, that's just outstanding. As some veteran of the military always used to say, that's outstanding. I can't remember his name, but it stuck. Anyhow, special thanks to everybody that has been watching the whole time. You've stuck with us. We're in the last quarter of the show now. Things probably going to start heating up after this next round of pit stop cycle through here. Mike Grandy Sr. coming down pit road at this time. Everybody, the 10th on back has come down pit road. So these guys up front, Jeffrey Bogan, Samar, they pitted lap 64 and 65. Ronnie Osmer and Jeffrey Roulette pitted on lap 67. But I expect everybody else to start coming down any minute now. And I think things are going to start to get interesting and a little bit more dicey as we're getting down to the wire.
Absolutely. I dare say that some of these guys are going to try to extend this as long as they can, being as you're on pit road for 39 seconds cone to cone, and that doesn't account the exit road and the getting into or onto pit lane, but just cone to cone, the pit delta, you're looking about 39 seconds. The longer these guys can stay out, that's 39 less seconds that they've got to worry about in this race. And we're getting near the point where you could possibly make it on just one stop.
That's a long way. I haven't seen anybody go 30 laps yet.
Well, I was told that it has been done in practice. I'll give you a guess at who did it. The guy that usually gets the best fuel mileage and decided not to start tonight. But, 30 laps is doable. But you've got to be in fuel conservation mode from the time you come off the jacks on that green flag stop. As Bogan in command of this one, as he is now working on a lap car that looks like... Is that Brazington?
Brazington coming down pit road, yes.
No, who is... Oh, that's... somebody just took the access road.
Perhaps it was Burgelli?
No, Burgelli's been on pit road. I mean, the access road in 3. There we go.
I did not see that.
Bogan peels off. First one to blink. That's going to hand the lead of the race over to Ronnie Osmer, but not if Chris Simard has anything to say about it. As Simard did get credit for leading a lap, so all-important bonus point there, as Butch Davis led a bunch of the early going of this event up into 3rd, and Jeff Roulette right there with him. I'm sorry, that is the lap car of Mike Grandy.
Well, Mike Grandy's currently scored 7th, but he's going to end up being back on the lead lap when these other drivers finally come down pit road.
Here we go.
Here comes Simard and Butch Davis. Osmer and Jeffrey Roulette still out on track. They must have nearly touched. I was focused on Ronnie Osmer right there, Tony. Care to elaborate?
Locked. Davis had him locked going into the commitment cone, and almost... I don't think I could have wheeled my wheelchair between those two cars as they got to the commitment cone, as Butch Davis just charged it.
Wow, that's incredible. I hate that we missed it. That's in fact, let's try to go back here and see if we can catch that real quick. That's entering his pit. Let's see right here. Oh, he was definitely really hot coming in. Oh, hard on the brakes. Gets a little sideways there. Wow, that was really... I see what you're saying. Now the fans got to see it. As here they come out of track. Simard just in front of Butch Davis. Less than a car length separating the two drivers. Now currently scored 5th and 6th. Butch Davis looking to the inside of Simard now. Moved Davis up to 5th and Simard back to 6th.
Absolutely is Osmer Roulette. Now there's the 30-second gap between Osmer and Roulette. So, a little bit of a difference there. But freshest tires on track right now belong to the 21 of Jeff Bogan, who currently occupies the number 3 spot. And, the more I'm looking at this, I'm liking the strategy that Jari Brupatcher's using. He's able to get on pit road early. And, again, like you mentioned, I don't think anybody's going to be able to make it from here. Everybody's going to have to come down for at least a splash and dash.
I mean, if Osmer and Roulette could stay out here for another maybe 5 laps, Tony, they might be close.
But everybody else is still going to have to come down for a splash and dash.
Oh, sure. Yes,
and
absolutely.
I'm liking the strategy that Jari Brupatcher has. He came down last time on lap 75. So definitely giving him the advantage there. Being as, it's going to be a normal pit for him as opposed to trying to hustle the car and, hustle the car, hit your marks, calculate how much fuel you need to get to the end, and then go. Whereas all he's got to do is just come down and robot it, and
here they come, Osmer and Roulette down pit road from the lead.
Absolutely, as Timmy Bates just reset quick time of the race with a 40.82. Good grief.
Wow, that's really fast. These guys just
And
keep getting faster.
And I just want to say, Sam Cooper Bennett, you're a show-off.
Yeah, of course he is. This is his kind of racing, Tony. This is what he knows. The only person who might know it better than you.
Yeah, he does know it better than me. But, yeah, you are correct. A.J. Foyt winning his first one in 61, then going 64, 67, and 77 for the Texan. Rick Mears, one of the best ever. 79, 84, 88, and 91 was his last one. Castor Nevis was your newest winner, going back-to-back in 01 and 02. Then 09 and this current year won it. And then Al Unser Sr., back-to-back in 70 and 71, 78, and then won his last one to become the oldest driver to ever win the 500 in 1987. But, John, something I do want to mention tonight, and it's something we haven't touched on yet. Unlike just about every other league we broadcast, we do have a couple of open set leagues that we do, but for the most part, they're fixed setup leagues. This one being a fixed setup league as well. But iRacing has allowed the drivers of the IR18s in fixed setups to be able to play with the weight jacker anti-roll bars. To really improve the performance of these cars, how they see fit, and more tune it to your driving style. Now, we've seen that come back and bite drivers in the backside a couple of times, but, for the most part, it really leads to better racing, because you can play with that weight jacker down the front straights. You can play with the anti-roll bars in the corners and really get that car to work. Even with a fixed setup, and it took some drivers some getting used to when they finally released that, but it's definitely led to better racing, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of the drivers always talk about post-race, pre-race, before we get up in the booth to talk to you guys, the fans, is they talk about how much they're really making adjustments in the car. Every corner, maybe not every corner here is probably 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 for Indy, because the corners so kind of just come up really quickly. But some of these road courses, I remember talking with Butch Davis, and he said, I'm adjusting it for every single corner. And that's pretty incredible. That's a lot of extra stuff to think about while in the middle of racing. And, you could be side by side with somebody, not make the adjustment you meant to make, and it just totally ruin that corner. And that can come into play here as well. In these kind of races. But we're at 25 to go, coming to 24 to go. Jeffrey Bogan's out front over Yari Brewpatcher, Butch Davis, and Ronnie Osmer. Chris Samard is the top 5, all within 1.5 seconds of each other. And this is getting kind of interesting. So, dare I say, new drivers into the chat with Jeffrey Bogan and Yari Brewpatcher. Earlier we saw it was Butch Davis and Brasington, and now Bogan and Brewpatcher kind of leading the way. Now, we know Brewpatcher's going to pit soon. We know he is going to pit soon, and this could work in his favor because all these other drivers, they may not be able to take tires, right, Tony? And I assume he's going to come down, take fuel and tires, and then just be on it till the end when everybody else tries to come down for a splash.
Absolutely.
It could be better for him trying to play catch-up, perhaps, the other way around. So I look really forward to seeing how that plays out. Kind of don't want to see a caution to see if that's a race-winning strategy, personally. But looking forward to see what happens there. Michael Bourne down pit road. He's coming from the 13th position.
Well, now here's the other interesting thing to think about. With the strategy Brewpatcher has implemented here, should we stay green, and fingers crossed that we do, he's just got to go down for a normal pit stop. He doesn't have to figure out, where do I need to set, man? Here he goes right there. Money stop time for Brewpatcher. All he's got to do is put 4 fuel and reset the weight jacker to where it needs to be on a fresh tank of fuel, because that's the biggest thing. With this car, it really gets tail happy when you burn the tank of fuel off. The more you burn that tank of fuel off, the looser this car gets. And remember, the tight is when you hit the wall with the front of the car. Loose is when you hit it with the back of the car. horsepower is how fast you hit the wall, and torque is how far you take the wall with you when you go. But the fact that these guys are having to play with that weight jacker more and more as the fuel burns off, Broadpatcher doesn't even have to think about where to put that weight jacker on that splash and dash. He just resets it to a full boat of fuel and goes. Whereas everybody else kind of has to figure out, okay, I only took X amount of gallons. Where do I need to put my weight jacker to not have this car be garbage for the final 10 or so laps?
We're going to find out as he is back on track now. Currently scored in 10th. He's going to have his work cut out for him, but everybody's going to have to pit. And he's going to be able to stay out on track running laps. So it's going to be a lot of how much can he make up right now. And that's going to be the big part of this here. And I don't think he's going to be that much faster. As here comes Mike Grandy Sr. and Dan Brasington as well.
Absolutely. As you would expect, we're starting to see those green flag pit stops start to rear their ugly heads as we are 20 to go, so you can make it from here. The question is, how much further are some of these guys going to try to stretch this tank to hope for a shorter pit stop? It's still up in the air as Broadpatcher had the stop of the night with an 8.5. That's one of the 8.52. That's one of the fastest stops of the entire night for in box. So Broadpatcher just on it, and Dan Brasington 8.3. So these guys have it figured out right now. They're hitting their marks. They're doing what they need to do on this money stop. As we're waiting for your top 5 to peel off and take their splash and go.
And Tony, what I really want to mention is that pitting from second for Yari Brewpatcher, he's only 35 seconds back, and he's closing that lead. So that being said, I mean, when this cycles through, he should cycle back to, at worst, second. And can he pick up some time on Ronnie Osmer if Ronnie stays out on track with 18 to go here? So this is, I think you were right. I think you called it 25 laps ago that he might have the winning race strategy.
Well, here's the thing to consider, too. The pit delta from commitment cone to exit cone before you can really start picking up the hammer is 39 seconds. 38.3 is the fastest we've seen tonight. But you're talking roughly 39 seconds, and Broadpatcher's only 34 back, which means once these guys in front of him have to pit for their splash and go, he should be contending for the win.
Well, right now, Butch Davis is contending for the lead as he goes by Osmer and Samard, both in one corner, put Butch Davis back out front.
Absolutely. Davis, always strong when we come to the Brickyard. As Samard trying to get him back and going into 3. Samard may have figured out his timing on Davis now. Didn't quite have it figured out on Broadpatcher a few laps ago, or Bogan a few laps ago. But definitely does have it figured out on Davis, as Davis is going to use the draft down the front chute and get that lead back going into 1 most likely. But Samard had the timing down perfect there, should that have been the final lap, as we are 16 to go. Samard, Davis, Osmer, Bogan, Roulette, your top 5. Will Fletcher and Yari Broadpatcher, last 2 being scored on the lead lap. And Broadpatcher slowly chipping away at that lead on these guys in front of him. Again, with a full load of fuel. And the fresh tires. When these guys have to peel off, Broadpatcher's going to be having a head of steam, and he's not that far behind them. As we are 15 to go now. Davis and Samard still going at it, hammer and tongs at the front of this piece. And Sam Cooper Bennett, if you're still watching, I need you to reach out to me on Facebook when you get a chance, sir. I got to ask you a question. But again, Simard looking to the inside of Davis. Davis not letting him have it. Leaves the door open ever so slightly, but it would not have given Simard enough of a run. He would have gotten into Davis, and that would have ended both their nights, which neither one of them really want to see. As they're coming up on the John Player special of Mark McFadden. McFadden currently holding down the last spot in the top 10. So good run for the Canadian there. As he is just down and out of the way. Doesn't want to, hamper this battle for the lead. Holds a nice tighty line and is predictable like you would expect a lap car to be. One of the most respectful drivers that you're going to find in the Sims, the driver of the number 22 out of Canada. So the question still remains, John, when are we going to see these top 5 or 6 peel off and get their money stops? Because the only one on the lead lap right now that we know can make it from here is Yari Broadpatcher in 7th.
Here comes William Fletcher.
So Fletcher in, that's going to move Broadpatcher up into 6th. And I haven't seen so much as a wiggle out of any one of those top 5 right now. And Simard wrestles the lead away from Davis going into 1. Just side-by-side, back-and-forth action up here at the point. Regardless of the outcome of this, Simard has had an amazing night. Up 12 spots from where he qualified. I'll make that 11 now that Butch Davis gets him back going into 3. But, that type of drive, with as ornery as this car is that we've heard from numerous drivers before the race, and, we heard during the race, as Simard peels it off, money stop time for the 77, gets it just barely woed down in time. So there's your answer. Simard, the first one to blink. Bogan goes with him. That's going to move Jeff Roulette up into the podium. As let's keep an eye on Broadpatcher. He's coming out of 4 now with a head of steam on tires that are already up to temperature. Simard just exiting pit lane. Broadpatcher down and away and just exiting pit lane. Should see them flash into view. There's Bogan. And Simard should be, there he is, just coming out of 2 now. But again, Simard still trying to get up to speed. About a 12-mile-an-hour difference between he and Broadpatcher.
I'm really surprised that he got out in front of him, Tony. I honestly didn't expect that.
It makes 2 of us. As they were almost identical with pit deltas, 37.6 to 37.68. As Davis peels off, handing the lead of the race over to Osmer.
Yeah, well, about 0.2 of a second difference on pit lane time for those two.
Let's see what type of time Davis has. It's agonizingly slow trying to get down pit road and into your box. As we are 10 to go. Davis down and away in 5.3. Good grief. So just a splash and dash for the 43. As again, Simard and Broadpatcher just slugging it out right now, as we still have Ronnie Osmer and Jeff Roulette they're going to have to come down. They're right at the very tip of that window. We've heard you can go 28 laps, and it's going to be 28 and a half for them to get to the checkered flag. But, what a night if they could both do it.
Jeffrey Bogan just put down a 40.92. Another really fast lap. 40.63, correction.
Wow. As he is all over the rear wing of Brawpatcher, throws it to the inside, coming off a 2, drag race down the back chute. Jeff Bogan is hungry right now. And they are still side by side working into turn number 3. Looks like aero push from hell for Bogan, though. He's going to lose a little bit as Brawpatcher able to slam the door finally, going through 4.
We're going to keep an eye on this battle right here for 4th. And might as well call it. These guys right next to each other, feet apart. Anything can happen. This is going to be a lot of fun watching for these last 7 laps right here. Still kind of monitoring the Osmer and Roulette situation, see if they can make it. I don't think they can, based on how long they were out last time. I do not believe that they can. And well, I just saw a speed of 228 miles an hour for Chris Simard. These guys are zooming around here, Tony. And I imagine speeds are only going to pick up now as everybody is going as hard as they can for the last 6 laps.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got as much rubber laid down on this track as we're going to get. The track conditions are as best as they're going to be with as much grip as we're 3 wide going into turn 1.
Is anybody going to give? No, but Simard is going to lose out on that battle right there. And Osmer coming down pit road. Jeffrey Roulette coming down pit road.
So this battle that we were watching for 4th might effectively be for the final step of the podium.
Very well could be. We're going to keep an eye on Butch Davis and this group of 3 right here. Ronnie Osmer, 4.5 second pit stop. Just a slight bit of gas. Jeffrey Roulette, he's in now. We're going to see how long his stop is. Not very long either. Here comes Butch Davis. Osmer coming out on the track now. Butch Davis closing quickly under 2 seconds. Ronnie Osmer might get out and up to speed just in time. Speed's almost equal, about 10 seconds difference, or 10 miles per hour difference, and I think Osmer's going to retain the position.
Yeah, that battle for 3rd right now is hot and heavy between Bogan and Brawpatcher. The German would love nothing better than to get a podium here at the Brickyard. And it'll be, I dare say, it's going to be his best oval finish in his Sim Racer's Edge career, should he be able to hold off Bogan and Simard, as both those guys work in the high line. And Bogan slams the door on Brawpatcher. Brawpatcher has to check up and loses another spot to Simard, slips back to 5th.
Yeah, that was a really big move right there. In fact, that kind of broke this gaggle of 3 machines up just a bit. Now it's Bogan and Simard. Brawpatcher about a second away from Bogan now. He's going to have to regroup in these last 4 laps to reattack to try to get that position. Butch Davis doing everything he can to chase Ronnie Osmer down within 0.6 of a second. Trying to close that to about a half a second. He's picking up time, Tony. I think he's going to get there quickly.
Well, we're going to find out. But again, this battle for 3rd still hot and heavy, as Simard and Bogan have been side by side for the last lap and a half. Simard looks for the opening going into 3, gets the slingshot. Does he have it timed just right? He's going to be able to slide up in front of Bogan. Wrestles the 3 spot away. Bogan going to be in the slipstream, though, going down the front straightaway, as we've got popsicle sticks in the air. 2 laps to go.
So laps go back up to the front now. Gap under 0.4 of a second. Can Butch Davis get there? He's going to need 6 really good corners. Now it's going to be 5. Lost a little bit of time right there.
Absolutely, as I'm keeping an eye on this battle for 3rd. Again, still side by side with Simard and Bogan, and I'm liking the timing that Simard is using. He's able to get that lead away going into 3 from Bogan for 3rd. Bogan able to cross him over coming off of 4, and with the drag race down the front chute, it looks like with 1 lap to go, Bogan had that timed perfectly. I don't think Davis is going to be able to do it.
Oh, no, he's definitely not. He's going to go from second
hell?
to way further back. Chris Samard up to second now. Now this is a battle for second.
Osmer coming across the stripe to take the win. Yard of bricks calling Ronnie Osmer's name. The Hour Motorsports driver, number 55, Ronnie Osmer, wins at Daytona. Drag race for second. Blocking going on. Coming to the Yard of bricks.
Samard
for second.
And try to go back and see what just happened to Butch Davis a couple moments ago. We go back and watch this final lap right here. I'm just going to assume that he gave it everything he had coming out of turn number 2.
He did exactly what Osmer did earlier. Just caught a touch of the apron. The only thing is he was going faster than Osmer was when he did it. And just ate the inside wall. Heartbreak for the driver that had the pole. Set your Red Cat Quick Time Award. And coming home in 7th was Davis. But so we are going to reach out now. As soon as I can find him, there he is. We are going to reach out now to the driver of the VSM Racing Hour Motorsports number 55. The man from Louisiana winning in Indiana, Ronnie Osmer. Congratulations.
Finally at this dang oval.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is your first oval win, is it not?
Yeah,
With Sim Racer's Edge?
In all Indy car ovals at races at this track, it's just I've always been fast, but it's just always something happens, so I can never win it.
Well, you definitely played the pit strategy to perfection with that 4.5 second in-box stop to bring home the victory. But Ronnie, talk us through just how difficult it was to make passes here tonight, because we heard from a couple drivers early on that the aero push was off the chart, and you really had to time your runs.
It's just the setup was a bit tricky to get a hold of during the run, because you can make it mechanically loose, but it'd be aero tight as awful. Like your car would zigzag through the corners at times with it trying to figure out whether it was loose or tight, and you just had to find that happy medium to make it last over the run. And pit strategy is a big help to get passes done.
Well, Ronnie, again, congratulations on winning here at the Brickyard. I know that this is it really should mean a lot to you, because we've seen time and time again, you've had a ton of speed on ovals all season long. The only thing is, it's been those self-inflicted wounds, towards the end of the race that have cost you. But congratulations on keeping it together and putting it in victory lane here tonight.
Yeah, it's the fun thing with IndyCar is how fast you go. You got to put that on the edge, and I got a talent for pushing it over the edge, but that's racing, and hopefully this win gives me some more momentum going. This Indianapolis sweep gets me going into the next season with a lot of momentum, and hopefully I can run for the championship.
Absolutely. Back-to-back wins at the Brickyard. Now, Ronnie, being as this is the Indy Oval, you know what the tradition is. We're going to expect to see a video posted within the next couple hours of you chugging some milk in your kitchen to celebrate your victory here tonight. But before we let you go do that, who do you need to thank for the race, and who do you need to thank for the season?
Of course, got to thank all my guys on VSM, Chris, Mike Sergel, Carl Burt. Those guys helped me out through the year, helped keep focused on races. Who else? Our Motorsports, PH Aware, Nate and the guys running this league, and you guys are broadcasting.
All right, Ronnie, again, congratulations on going back-to-back at the Brickyard. looking forward to seeing what you can do next season here with VSM. Congratulations on the victory here tonight.
Thank you.
So that was our winner, Ronnie Osmer. And joining us now, a man is got to be a little bit relieved this one's over after that hard fought, the second place finish. Congratulations, Chris Samard, on coming home with a podium here at the Brickyard.
Thank you, sir. I wish I had won that race, man. I went in the pits there at the end and took tires, and that's what cost me. I thought everyone was going to take fresh tires, and I think my teammate Ronnie, he just took fuel and got out there and was fighting with Butch there at the end, and I was a little too far behind, but second's good. Second is good.
Well,
one more spot would have been better. But.
I know one more spot would have been better, but talk us through that last 10 laps there. You, Bogan, and Broadpatcher were just going at it like an old married couple.
Oh, I know. I was kind of hoping we'd just trade spots back and forth and gain on the top two, but it didn't really happen that way. We were just fighting tooth and nail for position. I was trying to, get the draft and go on by and catch up to Butch and Ronnie, but not in the cards tonight. So.
Well, I got to congratulate you. Every time you rolled out a new paint scheme from Sam Cooper Bennett, you have put it on the podium. So I dare say going into season 4 of Sim Racer's Edge, Sam's going to be a busy boy as he's going to need to provide you with a new paint scheme every week.
He could. I don't know. I really, I really do like this paint scheme, so I think I'm going to keep it. He's nice enough. He's an awesome dude, and he paints my cars for me, and it's awesome. So
absolutely. Well, Chris, I know it wasn't the season you were hoping for, but you can't be too disappointed, being as in all 3 seasons of Sim Racer's Edge, you have finished in the top 3. That's something to really be proud of because no other driver can claim that.
Well, it's something to work on anyways. I am proud of that. I'm happy. I really want to I really want that championship. That's bugging me a little bit, but I kind of feel like the Mark Martin of IndyCar racing. I don't know.
That's a very fitting way to put it.
Yeah, it is. I just I want that championship so bad. My issue is the road courses. If I could get better at the road courses and minimize my mistakes on the ovals, because I know I can run up front all the time in the ovals, it'll help me big time next year. So.
Well, the only thing I can tell you is you're with the right group of guys over at VSM. They do a lot of endurance road racing, so get on board with those guys for those, and I guarantee you your road racing will improve hand over fist. But Chris, congratulations on the podium here tonight. Looking forward to seeing what you can do next season.
Yes, sir. And I'd like to thank you guys up in the booth for every week is a great broadcast to watch. I go back and watch my races, maybe to find out what I'm doing wrong, but you guys do a great job. I just like to thank my teammates, especially Sam, for letting me come into this team when a couple of my teams this year have folded up. So it's he was gracious enough to let me in, and I hope I stay here for a long time. So.
Well, I know you're an asset to that team, so they're good to lucky to have you. Best of luck to you in season 4.
Thank you, sir, and I'm raring to go now. I finished second. I'm raring to go. I want the season to start now.
All right, Chris. Good luck.
Have a good one, guys.
All right, so that was our second place finisher, Chris Samard, and joining us now, driver of the Tequila Patron number 21, a man who just got nipped at the line, and I'm not sure if you know what the differential was yet, Jeff, but 22 thousandths of a second.
Oh man. Tried to make sure I had a good run through 3 and 4 to try to snag that, but
half of the length of the front wing. That's all you lost it by.
Oh man.
But
That's crazy.
I mean, all things considered, you've got to be ecstatic for coming home with a podium finish here at the Brickyard. I dare say this is one of your best finishes of the season.
Yeah, I think I've got 4 or 5 podiums this year. Can't quite get that win, but you know, we'll get it. I thought I had it there. I lit some laps. You know, honestly, I tried to go no tires on that last stop. I couldn't find my my tire screen, so we went tires. And
you still had a great money stop.
Yeah, no, I hit my stops all night. I was actually just talking to my wife about that. Usually that's a weakness for me, but I was nailing my my pit road entry and exit, and stops were good all night. I was actually gaining spots, which is quite unusual for me, but I'll take it.
Well, Jeff, you know, as far as the season goes, actually a pretty decent season-ending finish for you, as I believe. Let me just double-check my math here. Looks like 5th in points. That's something to be proud of there. You know, because again, you're one of the ones that's been around for all 3 seasons, and all 3 seasons you've been in the top 5. So definitely something to be proud of. There, like I said, there's only 2 drivers that can say that they've done that, and that's you and Chris Samard. Everybody else has not been able to have that, you know, library of work.
No,
so
any list you can put me on with Chris is a hell of a list.
Absolutely,
appreciate you pointing that out.
But yeah, the 2 of you are the only 2 that have finished in the top 5 for all 3 seasons, and you know, definitely looking forward to seeing what you can do in season 4. It's safe to assume you are going to be back.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we'll get a little break in here and hit the ground running. You know, kind of picked up a few things. I had, you know, probably a lot of my last recent races were a lot of crash outs and things like that. So, you know, without some bad luck, maybe we would have been a little bit higher. I was shooting for a top 3 this year, kind of fell a little bit short, you know, on the next year.
Well, mitigate the self-inflicted wounds, and you should be all set. Who do you need to thank tonight before we let you go celebrate the podium with your team?
Oh man, I want to thank you guys for being here, broadcasting the race. All the league admins. I know it's kind of a grind putting on all these races, dealing with all the stuff they have to deal with. So I'd like to thank them. All the competitors. You know, people drove this season. I think drove way better than they had in seasons past. You know, a whole lot of give and take out there. So I want to thank all of them as well. I got my wife sitting behind me, so I'm going to go ahead and thank her so I don't get yelled at later.
Thanks, dear.
My boy, yeah, right. My boy stayed up late again to watch, so he should be in bed. But if not, you know, thank him as well. My brother always watches. My mom's still, she's doing well, and she is still up in Virginia. So I want to say hi, Mom, and you guys have a good off season. I'll see you race 1.
All right, Jeff Bogan, again, congratulations on finishing the season with a podium. Looking forward to seeing what you can do in season 4.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
So that was our podium. And John, let's give a quick rundown of our finishing order, with Ronnie Osberg coming home with the victory, Chris Samard hanging on for 2nd, Jeff Bogan coming home in 3rd. Yari Broadpatcher had the good strategy, just came up a little bit short, coming home in 4th. Dan Brazington running out your top 5. Good run for the driver of the number 29. Jeff Roulette coming home in 6th. Butch Davis in 7th after having that last lap accident coming off a 2. Timmy Bates hanging on to 8th. Will Fletcher, last car scored on the lead lap, coming home in 9th. Mike Grandy in 10th. Mark McFadden 11th. 12th going to Johnny Antonucci. Mike Bourne in 13th. Kevin O'Brien, the Thunder from Down Under, coming home in 14th. Karen Brigelli coming home in 15th. 16th going to Shane Loveridge, the only other Aussie in the field tonight. Carl Burke in 17th, Jose Viguera in 18th, 19th going to Jackson Bell, 20th to Chris Walker, Ernie Ludwig in 21st, Chad Simpson and Jeff Hollingsworth did not start. But John, what a great season for these guys. Season 3 in the books. What's your takeaway from it?
Just what a welcoming league. That's the best way to put it. You see fireworks, but you don't see ridiculousness. The league is very inviting. They are great drivers. As you saw, there was 3 cautions? No, really only one event involving 2 drivers, and that one didn't even cause a caution, and that was just a stack up at the beginning of or on the green flag. These guys do an excellent job. They don't wreck often. They race hard, and we have different winners, but you see the same group of guys towards the front for the most part of the races. So I don't want to say they're predictable, but they're sort of predictable. And this race kind of summed up how the season has been since I came on board helping you out with them. Ronnie Osmer is always up front, Samard's up front, Butch Davis is up front, so is Jeffrey Bogan. Brasington always seems to finish in the top 5, but never much better than 5th. Just luck of the draw, but he's always involved. And Yari Brewpatcher, he's always a top 10 driver and gives it a run for its money, and we see him lead laps every race. A bunch of other drivers that do well on the road racing don't do quite as well here on the oval, but just look at this field. 20-car field, finale, late night, week before Thanksgiving. In fact, nobody could win the championship, and this many drivers showed up. That's all you need to know. Great group of guys. It's been my pleasure to be involved with this show.
I think you just hit the nail on the head, and it's been a pleasure for the last 3 seasons that ESPN has brought the action of Sim Racer's Edge to the masses. Looking forward to continuing this partnership with them. I know we are in negotiations to pick up season 4 for them right now. Hopefully, we can come to an agreement with the league admins to make that happen. But again, a body of work second to none with all the leagues that we do broadcast and have broadcast here on ESPN. This has been one of the premier leagues year in and year out. But that is going to about do it for us tonight. From the Brickyard, congratulations, Ronnie Osmer, going back-to-back here at the Brickyard. One last week on the road course, one this week on the oval. So for Mr. Jonathan Leach, this is Tony Trapassa reminding you folks that as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.